welcome. It's complete carnage. I was just finishing up my video on the retro Cobra Vipers, and it occurred to me, man, we're already up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 retro Cobra troop builders in the G.I. Joe Classified Retro Series. So I thought it might be a cool time to just do a little inventory and talk about some of those troop builders a bit and see where we're at. Of course, the first retro Cobra troop builder in the line here was the retro Crimson Guard, which came with the silver paint on the mask instead of the black paint, and a bit of a lighter red as far as the main color, base color, as well as red backpack. Really, I don't think there were any changes in the actual tooling. I think it was just strictly color changes with the retro Crimson Guard. The loadouts were exactly the same, even down to the colors, other than the backpacks being red instead of black. So, not a whole lot of changes. I believe that next, I'm having trouble remembering chronologically if it was the Snow Serpents or the retro Eels who came next. I'm thinking it was the Eels, but I could be mistaken. So let's go ahead, move these Crimson Guard here so that we can get in and take a look at these Eels. Now, these, similar to the Crimson Guard, the loadout was almost the same. I guess it was just minus the submachine gun that the mainline Eels included. Other than that, is the same loadout. These were Amazon exclusives, and I think the first troop builders that were Amazon exclusives, and they sold out immediately. I think there was one restock, and that was it. And I was just lucky that I got my pre-orders in with Hasbro, and I was able to cover another friend of mine who missed out on them. So I got lucky. Get those pre-orders in is the lesson. Based on what we saw happen with these guys and how quickly they showed up in retro, I'm thinking that we're going to see retro range Vipers probably sooner than later if Hasbro keeps with the pace that they have. Well, I hope so. I think that would be a really cool one. I hope they would maybe reduce some of the tooling with those. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get these guys out of the way for the time being and talk about the next troop builders. Yeah, another one that was pretty popular and I believe was another Pulse exclusive. Am I wrong? I might be tripping. Was the Snow Serpent. And these guys came with a pretty much a deluxe loadout because you had the skin, which included a cape, as well as a headpiece, which was the skinned wolf, and also had the skis in addition to the snowboard. And then we had the rocket launcher, which was reuse from Bazooka. So, and which was the Zartan sniper rifle, not one of my favorite pieces, but a piece nonetheless. We saw these guys with a reduced loadout, including the snow boots, the snow, whatever you want to call those things, and then some different colorations. The web gear, instead of being black, is a light blue. Sorry, I had to look up there. And then, as I say, there's quite a few changes in the loadout. And he still has the two pistols there on either side. I like those smaller pistols. They look really good. So, my general rule of 2 retros holds true for all these guys. These, I can't say that they really add a lot to my 4 Snow Serpents, but You know, who doesn't need 6 snow serpents? So happy to have them. And then moving on, next was retro Cobra troopers here. And we definitely saw changes in some of the choices of the tooling. And it was interesting, you know, just some of the consistency or non-consistency. We've had so many of these troop builders have been pinless, and these guys were not pinless. But sort of a combination of the trooper, the officer, and then even some of the web gear that was used with Falcon. So some interesting choices. And then the sniper rifle from Spirit, which is super gummy. And then the little laser gun that's been included with a lot of people. Well, it was included with those snow serpents. It was included with Metalhead. Anyway, we've seen a lot of those laser pistols. And he's also got a dagger and a pistol and a suppressor. I've got the goggles from one of the Cobra Island troopers there. So these were really great. Their coloration is different from the Cobra Island troopers and the officers, but I guess that's in keeping with some of the color differences that we had in the original A Real American Hero line. All right, let's go ahead and talk about our very last troop builders in the classified line right now. We know those Cobra bats are coming soon. So there are definitely more retro troop builders on the way. These guys are a vast improvement over the old Vipers. The loadout is a vast improvement. All of the new tooling is a vast improvement. We have pinless joints. I thought those arms were new tooling, but I finally figured out where they came from, and it's mutt. And I knew I had seen those somewhere else. So the arms are not new tooling. The legs are new tooling, and they may be one of the best parts of the figure. Well, I have enjoyed talking about the retro figures in the classified line, and I am very excited about those bats. And I have heard some speculation about what's coming in the classified line officially. My prediction of the Range Vipers is strictly my own prediction and very much unofficial. But what would you like to see the retro line as far as Cobra troop builders? Who would you like to see get the classified retro treatment? And what differences, if any, would you like to see in those new retro figures? Thanks for watching, folks. We'll do this again real soon.
Subscribe and I'll be happy.